How would you react to a real life zombie apocalypse?
Uh, Real life zombie apocalypse. First, I will start with Head for the Hills. Um, let's see, real life zombie apocalypse. Well, there's a few places that are sort of fortified that I know of, or can be easily fortifiable. Um, hmm. To be honest, I don't know. I don't know. Like, there's a few places that would fortify that I know that it could be fortified pretty easily, but that would take a lot of manpower, and the manpower is a problem because they're all zombies. Um, I don't know. I guess what I would do was just try to get to my family first, get them boarded up, so let them make them leave their stuff so we can go somewhere more defendable. Keep everything light, keep moving constantly, and try to get a very like get a vehicle that's really really sturdy. You know, something that okay, we need to move. We can go off road, like because everything's gonna become off road eventually. So if I could get my hands on a tank, I will get my hands on a tank just because that way I don't have to worry about like getting it stuck anywhere. Just plow through everything. Yeah, essentially that'll be my motto. Just plow through everything and hope for the best later. Hi, my name is Cesar Ribot, and this is my golden hour.
Hi. It's good.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi, my name is Marty Walsh.
Hi, I'm Becca Peasy.
Hi, I'm James Devil.
And this is my golden hour.
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 Whoa.
Welcome back to another episode of GDP The Director's Cut, where we're breaking down and analyzing the production and creation of the GDP movie with the help of the people who helped make it all possible. Today, I'm so fortunate to be joined by Cesar Ribot. Cesar is a post-production artist and the co-founder of ABOT Studios, the studio currently heading VFX for the GDP movie. Originally from Puerto Rico, Cesar is also a writer, producer, video editor, and actor with his bachelor's in theater performance and master's in digital cinema. Cesar has worked on visual effects for years now and has a plethora of short films and music videos produced and edited under his talented eye. Today, he joins us to discuss his rise into the world of post-production, involvement in the GDP movie, and more. Cesar, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's my pleasure.
So my first question for you is, you said that you've always been fascinated by the art of storytelling. Where do you think this came from?
Wow. Honestly, it's one of those things where it's as long as I can remember. So I guess it's due to my upbringing. I guess I was really was kind of a bit of a loner at first when I was really young because of family issues with my sister. So I took a lot I got really into stories. Of course, back then they were cartoons, but it would be cartoons, fairy tales, anything with a good story that was like something that took you on a bit of a journey. That's what I really like. You know, something that would give your mind's eye something to see, something to experience. And I think it all stemmed from that. It eventually graduated into me reading a lot of books. I was never really into comics when I was a kid. I did enjoy the characters, but not really like the act of just buying comics constantly. I'd rather prefer reading full-on novels, you know? Mm-hmm. And then, so I took off with that, and that started my love of storytelling. And then, of course, when my dad was, I wouldn't say my dad was a big movie buff, but he did enjoy a lot of movies. And so by watching movies with him all the time, and I fell in love with movies and storytelling that way, you know, the visual medium of storytelling. So, yeah, one thing led to another, really.
So you liked consuming media early on as a form of escapism?
Yeah. At first it was escapism. Later it was just more like, I guess it was Sylvian escapism. But yeah, it was escapism at first, and then I just enjoyed just the idea that someone could come up with this world, this story, these characters, and make it so interesting that people would just get engrossed in it and lose themselves in the story, you know?
Do you remember any specific works that first really inspired you?
Wow, that is a tough one. Because the thing is that I never really, this was back before the Star Wars franchise got bought by Disney. So like, it was way back when, I don't know if you remember that back in the day, there used to be this expanded universe of the Star Wars series, the Star Wars in films. And then all these authors just kept writing these novels set in the Star Wars universe. And like 90% of them were canon. Like, even though we're different authors, completely different angles, completely different storytelling styles, they were still considered to be part of the same shared universe. And I read a lot of those. I think one of the first ones that really got me was the Thrawn trilogy. It was, I forget who the author was, man. But yeah, the thing is that it was this trilogy. It was one of, I don't want to say an author and then get slaughtered in the comments later, because I know I'm going to get the author's name wrong. But I know it's the Thrawn trilogy. And it literally, this is a story that takes place right after Return of the Jedi. So it literally continues the story from the movies. And so I just sank into this, like, wow. And this guy's, eventually I realized that this guy had nothing to do with the movies or anything. He's just a completely different author. And just added to this world. And that just made me fall in love with it even more,
Yeah, I really get that. And were you reading these stories when you were back home in Puerto Rico?
Yeah. It's funny because back then there were a lot of, Barnes and Noble was available back then, I think. If not, well, the thing is, we have some of my family was always living in New Jersey and New York. So we tended to fly a lot. So every time I was in an airport, I was immediately going straight to the bookstore, see if there was anything that caught my eye, anything Star Wars or anything, or sci-fi. I used to like a lot more sci-fi than fantasy, actually. Still kind of do. But yeah, like every time we went to a bookstore or one of the big shopping centers and stuff, one of the first things I would do is go to the book section, see if there's anything, a continuation of what I was reading or something like that, Like my passions back then were novels and Transformers, pretty much.
I have to out myself real quick. Can you explain to me the difference between sci-fi and fantasy?
Oh, sure. All right. In sci-fi, let me get my thoughts in order. All right. So the thing is that the two, like, when it comes to Star Wars, that is sci-fi fantasy, like, because it's magic and stuff. Like, science fiction is about stuff that's almost plausible to do. There's the whole center about it is technology and advancement. Like Star Trek, that's purely sci-fi. I think Stargate, was that sci-fi? Well, the first episodes were sci-fi. Anyways, but yeah, essentially sci-fi, sci-fi centers around the technologies that humans can make and build and how the evolution will affect humanity as a whole, whether it be for good or for bad. That's usually sci-fi. Now, when it comes to fantasy, in the broadest of terms, it's more about, it's about magic. This is a very broad, also that I get started with this, but it tends to be more a lot about magic, like stuff that is kind of similar in a way, because it's stuff that humanity has no control over. It's a natural thing, a natural force that's all around you and gets altered and used by humans. In that regard, fantasy can be a lot like sci-fi. But in fantasy, it's more like the old gods or the old ways or the power of nature or the power of magic, stuff that wasn't created by humans, but that humans either are taking control of or have to deal with. Like, I keep saying I'm going to get butchered by this, but I probably will. You know what? Clearest example, Harry Potter. That's pure fantasy.
Right.
Like the only technological stuff there is the muggle stuff. Everything else, all the stuff the main characters are dealing with, all the supporting characters, the whole trauma revolves around this force that is completely out of humans. The humans didn't create it. They're just taking control of it. They're just manipulating it. But it's old curses, old folklore, everything old, that's what fantasy tends to lean towards. Actually, there's a good comparison. Like fantasy tends to deal with humanity or sentient beings dealing with power coming from the past, and sci-fi tends to deal with sentient beings dealing with the power from the future.
Mm, that
And I
makes
think that's actually pretty poetic.
that was pretty poetic. Well,
But
Cesar, thank you so much for clearing that up for me. I really,
no
that was a
problem.
great explanation. You mentioned earlier that you're from Puerto Rico. How has your
Yes,
Puerto Rican background influenced your work?
that's an interesting question. I guess I try to be less cut and dry. I think that's the best. It's kind of hard to quantify, really, but I try to be less cut and dry either in my edits or my work. I always like to add a little bit of flair to it, whether it be narrative flair or comedic flair, or maybe just a little bit more pizzazz, for lack of a better term. But yeah, I guess because from my point of view, Puerto Rican culture is a lot about the experience, a lot about having fun, a lot about being with family, a lot of flavors, like whether it be flavor of the culture or flavor of the food, especially flavor of the food. Don't come to Puerto Rico when you're on a diet. But be strict about yourself when you come to Puerto Rico because you will gain some pounds. But that's just like a cultural thing, like we always try to enjoy the moment. That's one of the things about Puerto Rican culture that I love the most. We always try to enjoy the moment. Does that mean that we sometimes splurge a little bit? Yeah, but we have fun.
I know you and Alex first got your start in production, filming and editing music videos of Latin artists. How do you think you guys have kept that sort of liveliness and spirit in your work now?
Can you repeat that question?
I know you guys got started with doing music videos for Latin artists and editing them. How do you guys think your work has changed over time, and how do you guys kind of stay loyal to those roots?
Hmm. Well, it has taught us different ways of approaching. Because we did get a lot of our commercial work has been with Latin artists and stuff. But even before then, I guess we wouldn't call it work; it was more like personal projects. A lot of personal films and shorts and stuff like that. Our previous work before starting to work with the artists, all our work was mostly narrative. Like everything we said had to be a story. Had to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Like I need to go to the grocery store and buy milk. That sort of thing. Meanwhile, a lot of music videos tend to be more about the emotion and while stories tend to be kind of logical in their progression and stuff, like, oh, this happened because of this, that happened because of that, and everything has an order, a sequence. With music videos, a lot of times it's a lot more about the emotion, like almost reactionary, like, ooh, I see colors, ooh, that makes me happy. Ooh, I see dancing, ooh, that makes me want to dance, very reactionary, which is why a lot of times music videos go pop, 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 pop. They go from scene to scene to scene to scene, each one not really having any relation to the other ones outside of the people in it, Because it's like, because a lot of these music videos tend to do, they tend to mirror a lifestyle in a way, or the image of a lifestyle, rather than actually showing a story, And so what that did in our work was that we kind of, when we got into doing music videos, we were doing these, the first music videos where we were trying to get into the swing of things and all that. And then we started like meshing the two things together, so that we would do the jumping from from A to B to C, like they do in music videos. But we try to put a connecting thread throughout the whole thing. Like you can really see that, I think, in one of the last videos we did was Decir Adios by Cosculluela. Cosculluela is one of the big artists here in Puerto Rico that we've had the blessing of working with. Anyways, in that one, it's a music video, so there's different sets in the music video. Like one moment they're outside, the other moment they're inside, and that sort of thing. but there's a general thread. And when you watch the video in its entirety, by the end of it, you can literally see all the dots connecting. And that's kind of been like our style, how it's evolved because of working with music videos, really. So
that can bring us into the present. What are you and ABOT Studios primarily up to now?
Well, right now, besides the Golden Deer movie, we are personal projects, kind of a few side projects, some more commercial, like some podcasts we're doing for a company we've worked with for years, and a few some VFX work for other music videos that we've been working on recently on the side. Outside of that, we've been doing some personal projects, me on one side, Alex on the other, trying to get more familiarized with some other software for use in future projects. Because like lately, there's been a lot of progress with Unreal Engine. And I mean, that has been working in the background for a while now, but now it's really starting to become a true tool for cinematography, and being a lot more accessible. So I've been trying to get myself more familiarized with that as well, trying to get some more personal projects done on the side, with the intent being to learn the program backwards and forward and be able to do more intricate 3D work in the future.
And what has the learning process been like for you?
It's been interesting. Because Unreal, I don't know if you know anything about it, but it started off as a game engine. So it's a lot of thought processes behind the program tend to be more video game centric. And though I personally am a gamer, I've never been a coder. So the idea of, okay, I love playing video games, but how to make Mario jump, that's sometimes makes you go, what? So it's been a bit of a learning curve, but it's really interesting. Like once you get into the stride of it, you get really engrossed in it, and before you know it, 3 hours have gone by. It's like, oh my gosh, where did the time go?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's good in that regard.
I understand. You mentioned earlier working on Connor's project. I know he originally reached out to you guys over maybe social media or an email to connect. What drew you guys into the project?
Well, to be honest, it's just it seemed interesting. The whole premise of making this whole of essentially turning Boston, and I don't know why I put a P there. The whole process of turning Boston into this post-apocalyptic landscape was, I don't know, it was intriguing to us because we've seen, we love movies like Mad Max and Blade Runner and all those movies where they created these amazing landscapes that are, for interesting and foreboding and a bit daunting at the same time, And the idea of creating that in a project we got to work on was very intriguing. And I don't know, it's just the idea of turning Boston into this post-apocalyptic landscape was, it was something like at the time, we were kind of working on new ways of creating more interesting environments anyways. And then this popped up. So we were so it was almost serendipitous.
Yeah.
I think I'm using that word correctly. And we honestly liked the project. I mean, we saw the movie, it looked interesting. We truly love working with Connor. So yeah, everything matched up. So we decided to go for it.
The last time I spoke with Alex, I believe back in May, he told me you guys were working on primarily coloring. Where are you guys in the process compared to 2 months ago now?
Well, right now we are in the process of putting all the haze and effects into the different shots, like all the rotoscoping, all that stuff has been done. Every once in a while, there's something that because of the new direction some of the coloring has taken, there's been some adjustment that have had to be made. So we're doing a lot of that work has fallen to me. It's progressing very, very well. It's now it's at that point where it's almost close to fine tuning. So we still got a ways to go, but it is definitely taking more shape. It's definitely like now it's more of a thing of making things make sense, because it's one thing to just add dust on a scene, but it's another thing to make it seem like it's part of the scene, make it make sense within the scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you have a favorite part of the editing process personally?
Hmm, that's an interesting question. I wouldn't say there's a favorite parts because it's not like sometimes people will say like it's either the pre-production part where you're planning everything, or like at the end of the movie when you add the music to it, and everything comes together like that. With me, it's more like the tiny aha moments, the tiny aha moments throughout the progress where you're like, okay, we need to make this look like this, and then this does this, and then aha. So when the moments where things just click and they actually look and the thing starts coming to life, those are the moments that I really enjoy. Usually they tend to happen a lot more near the end when you're adding the music and everything. Then it's when everything starts feeling more complete. But it's the aha moments throughout the progress that really keep me going. You know, Always looking for that aha moment where it just clicks and like, yes, this looks awesome. This has so much potential. That's what I really like.
Yeah, life is about those small victories, right?
It really is. It really is. You really don't think about it too much, but yeah, it is.
It keeps you going every day, makes you wake up every morning. Do you think there are any common misconceptions about VFX work that you want to clarify?
Oh, so many. So many. um, well, the biggest misconception that I've personally come across in my work has been that, everyone has cell phones, everyone has iPads, and everyone can just add a little filter, make everything look pretty and all that. And because of that, as amazing as that technology is, it's made it so that people get this mindset, at least from my point of view, that adding VFX at the end is just either click and dragging something on top of something else, or just hitting a button and then it magically just resolves itself. And the thing is that in reality, what people think takes like 5 minutes, maybe an hour, can take upwards of 3 or 5 hours to days, really. Like I've had issues where, due to the complexity of an effect, getting 10 seconds done of film can take upwards of a day, you know? And I mean, it has to be done that way, otherwise it will not look good. It'll look either I don't know, hopefully you don't have to edit this, but half-assed,
hmm
is it bad? I don't know. But yeah, it can look, if you do it too quick, it'll look half-assed. But the thing is that most people think that, in my opinion, that it's just click and drag or click a button and voila, it's done. Like the VFX artists, all they have to do is just design originally, and after it's designed, it's just copy paste and done. And each shot is different. In each shot, the lighting is different. The positioning, everything's different. Just pretty much just scaling. Yeah, scaling and the framing of all the subjects in the shot are going to affect all the VFX work. So it's not as easy as everyone makes it out to be.
And of course, ABOT Studios would never half-ass their work. So I
Oh,
wanted to
never.
know, I wanted to know if you wanted to plug anything that you guys are working on or developing right now.
Well, like I mentioned earlier, right now we don't have any big projects right now. Like there's a lot of commercial work on the side, some VFX work here. We did do some VFX work on a music video for Rafa Pavon, if I remember correctly. Yeah, Rafa Pavon is another Puerto Rican artist, and we did some VFX work for that. And stuff like that. Other than that, really, all we're working on, we're just kind of concentrating on those personal projects to get more into Unreal and all that. Hopefully, in the future, we should have something bigger in the works. But right now, it's just kind of setting up the groundwork just to make sure that we don't trying to prevent any stumbling with the big works later on. If you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense. I got it.
Yeah. But right now, the biggest project we were working on is the Golden Year, ABOT Cinemas. And yeah, so that's pretty much what we're working on. I just finished doing some extra VFX work for another client. And I just sent that to him, just waiting for his response, see whether he agrees or not. And that's where we're at.
Well, Cesar, you sound booked and busy, and I could not be happier for you.
No, thank you.
I have one final question for you, and it's a fun one. As you know, the GDP movie is about a zombie apocalypse that happens in Boston and how two people would react to it. How would you react to a real life zombie apocalypse?
Real life zombie apocalypse. First, I will start with Head for the Hills. Let's see, real life zombie apocalypse. Well, there's a few places that are sort of fortified that I know of, or can be easily fortifiable. To be honest, I don't know. Like, there's a few places that would fortify that I know that it could be fortified pretty easily, but that would take a lot of manpower, and the manpower is a problem because they're all zombies. I don't know. I guess what I would do was just try to get to my family first, get them boarded up, so make them leave their stuff so we can go somewhere more defendable. Keep everything light, keep moving constantly, and try to get get a vehicle that's really, really sturdy. Something that, okay, we need to move, we can go off-road, because everything's gonna become off-road eventually. So if I could get my hands on a tank, I will get my hands on a tank, just because that way I don't have to worry about getting it stuck anywhere, just plow through everything. Essentially, that'll be my model, just plow through everything and hope for the best later.
I appreciate the progressive, just keep pushing through it attitude, Cesar. I think
you got to, because if you in Walking Dead and all these shows, what happens when people get settled in an area? That's when the hits the fan.
Yeah.
You get entrenched, you get comfy, and then it hits the fan, and then oh God, and then it's a massive escape scene. No, just keep moving. Become nomads if you need to. Just keep moving.
Yeah, that way you never have to escape because you're always moving. Exactly.
If it becomes part of the lifestyle, it's not. If it becomes part of the lifestyle, it's not as traumatic. It's one way to look at it, I guess.
On that inspiring note, I think I'm going to have to say goodbye, Cesar. I have one final thing for you. If I could just have you do our little intro outro for you. I'll explain to you how it works and we'll be in and out. Got it?
All right. Sure.
So what I'm going to have you do is repeat 2 sentences back to back. It'll go like this. Hi, my name is Cesar Ribot, and this is my golden hour. And then hi, my name is Cesar Ribot, and that was my golden hour. Does that make sense?
Okay. So the first one will be, hi, my name is Cesar Ribot, and this is my golden hour. Mm-hmm. And then the last thing will be, hi, my name is Cesar. Okay, I'm Cesar Ribot, and that was my golden hour.
Perfect. Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Yeah, I can do that. Just let me know when.
Yep, whenever you're ready.
All right. All right. Hi, my name is Cesar Ribot, and this is my golden hour. And then, well, I'm Cesar Ribot, and that was my golden hour.
Hi.
It's good.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi, my name is Marty Walsh.
Hi, I'm Becca Peasy.
Hi, I'm James Devil.
And this is my golden hour.
And this is my golden hour.
And this is my golden hour.
And this is my golden hour.